Hello, Leo. How are you doing today? I hope everybody is doing well. Such an honor to be able to show up for you today. A lot of messages were coming through, which is why I'm starting right on time. I needed a chance to kind of scribble everything out. So thanks for giving me a couple minutes to get started here. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. We'll be looking at, again, the sign of Leo today. And you can always use this for your sun, rising, and moon. You can also look at it for other aspects of your chart if you happen to know that. So if you know Venus or other placements, you can use that as well. I welcome cross-watching. You can also watch on behalf of people that you love in your life. And I'm going to put Apollo down here so we can get started. So with that being said, so much coming through today and some messages of peace and diplomacy as well for your sign. So we'll talk about that in just a moment. Let me outline how this is organized, and then we'll get into the messages, okay? So the first piece is always channeled messages, and the channeled messages come to me through a combination of dreams, meditations, and then also just the automatic writing itself as a way to connect with source. So that's what I've been working on for the past hour and a half or so, and we'll start with that. Then after we go through those messages, I've already selected a deck of cards that I'll be using for you, and then we'll look at a Celtic Cross to look at high points, challenges, and the little in-between things that kind of help veer us in either direction. I always like to preface by saying that I'm a fan and a believer of free will. So the reason that we show up every single month and every week, because I'm on every week almost, is to really just make sure that we have a chance to course correct and to maximize opportunities. So I try to empower you, and you can make the choices, right? And that's what's fun about this. The center spread, when I use the Celtic Cross, is not solely focused on one thing. This is one area where I'm a little bit different from other readers. I don't just do love. I don't just do career. Whatever has to come through will come through. Then I make sure that I highlight those areas in the expanded forecast: health, wealth, love, and destiny. I'll be doing a general reading at the end of this month. I'm starting to do collectives. So if you can make it on the 31st, please try and join. That one is going to be focusing on heart chakra healing. So there will be like love and relationships. So I try to do a separate reading just for that. That way these monthly ones can kind of take on the flavor that they need to. And I may do some extra readings over the course of the next few months on development and any other sort of issues that you guys want to look at. But I kind of like to keep this organized like it is. It seems to work for everybody. After we go through the main reading and the expanded forecast, we'll review. So don't worry if you ever join late, you can always check that review. And then at the latter part of the reading, we focus on the soul path. And the soul path is just what it sounds like. It's going to be looking at something beyond just the month ahead or the next 6 to 8 weeks. It's going to be really, how can I get on the right trajectory for the rest of this year? Or how can I make a change in my life to feel better? And I think that's something that we all need to do right now, right? There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. There's a lot of things that are out of our control. And it's so important right now to be able to kind of navigate a few things and feel like I'm on the right path. So I'm going to try to help you with that in the soul path. We usually look at a past and a present influence and then like a wild card for the future. We'll meditate afterwards, listen to a singing bowl to pull us into a nice, kind of calm space. And then sometimes if I have time, I'll pull an extra card, one for the road. Okay, so let's get started. Before I do that, one last thing. If you would like to show support, and I already saw a lot of this earlier, so I just want to say thank you to everyone that was kind enough to do Super Chat. Super Chat is a great way to give back. It helps me to continue to keep my my cards up to date and also just pay for the supplies that I need to just do what I'm doing. So feel free to do that. I don't answer questions during the reading. I will periodically just kind of keep an eye on chat to make sure that everything is resonating. But if there is if you ever want to have like a one-on-one, you can go to my website. I tried to pin my comment there, but it didn't work. So you can just check out nicholasashbaugh.com and I'll try to pin it a little bit later. So let's get into the comments here, or I'm sorry, into the cards here, the ones that I've written, and talk a little bit about what's coming through. This is for the month of February, but this portion may actually resonate for you right now because usually the people that show up in the room help to influence what I'm going to talk about. So this is very much channeled, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks again to my moderators for helping out. First channeled message has to do with your animal totem. And a lot of times, not every reading, but almost every reading, I'll see or feel something from nature that comes through. And yours today was the dove or pigeon. It's basically the same thing. Doves tend to be a little smaller, pigeons are a little bit larger, but it's all the same family. And it's just kind of like whatever word you'd like to use on this. I was interested when I was looking at, I always like to kind of like Google whatever comes through in spirit just to make sure that what I'm seeing in my head is what it really is. One thing that I was kind of fascinated by is that the doves don't always look the same. We always think of like the white-winged dove, right? They have so many different colors. There's so many different varieties. And that was something that fascinated me. The other thing that I thought was really interesting is, as I was researching the doves a little bit, or pigeons, male doves actually help out quite a bit, more so than in other animal kingdoms, to the point that they even are able to produce a kind of milk that the young can digest. And also they help incubate the eggs as well. So there's this sort of camaraderie and community energy with the male and female pigeons. And then it's interesting that just depending on how you look at them, they can either be a bird that bothers you in the city or a messenger from the divine. So it's sort of this interesting perspective that comes through as well. You can look at something as either a blessing or a block, or a blessing or a curse. So let's try to look at the positive. And that's what we're going to do as we look at the messages from the doves. Okay, when I think of them, the first thing that actually came through was that they're resourceful. If you ever look at one of their nests, they're going to pick up little pieces of, I mean, all birds are like this, but doves and pigeons especially, because in the city, they're just using whatever they've got. They'll eat anything that they can find. They clean up the messes. They kind of, they make their own kind of messes too, but they also kind of use what they can to survive. So being resourceful is really important right now. And we're being tested right now to see how resourceful we can be. Our monetary resources in many cases are being diminished because of the pandemic, because of changes in the job and economy. So your job or the economy at large. So this is a time to rely on that ability to be a little bit scrappy, to kind of be able to take what you have and think of a different way to use it or a way to reuse it. And just as I've been talking about in a lot of signs about the ability to almost reinvent yourself, the same thing can be true for things around you or your skills, repackaging, reusing, and just being able to make the most. That's really what I see with this. So build or rebuild. You take what's around you and build or rebuild. You've already got what it takes. That's another thing that I think of when I see the word resourceful, or again, when I think of a pigeon. They don't worry, they take what they have and they make the best. As I was saying here, equality or equity, I really liked and was surprised by the research that I was doing about the male pigeons helping out. And I think that what we can look at this as a sort of community type thing. It doesn't matter where you are, no pun intended, in the pecking order, whether you're high up on the ladder or lower, or if you're what gender you are or identify as. It's sort of like we're all souls, right? And I think the more we start to get into our spiritual path, the less we're going to care about race, gender, religion, place of origin, whatever, it doesn't matter. So focusing on creating an equal environment wherever you're at is going to be important, and seeing yourself as an equal participant is going to be helpful. And as we've all been at different points in our life where you have to like take a job or try something where you think, maybe you're overqualified, maybe it seems like a waste of time. I would just make the most of the opportunity. I've mentioned this for those of you that are frequent listeners, apologies, but I think it's worth mentioning that one of my spiritual teachers reminded me that you never want to kind of give less than your best, because at the end of your days, you're going to judge yourself. It's really you. It's not God judging you. It's you judging you with your guides and through the lens. Like, we are divine agents, and so we look at our lives and sort of think, did I do well or did I not? And so just always give 100% if you can. Sometimes health or other things kind of take us off that path. But if you do that, you're going to be remembered by that energy. Like, I can depend on you. You have that good, that sort of, your heart is kind of basically the center of all of this. So put your heart into it. And if you can't, or if you're feeling like a lack of support, I think this equity goes both ways. So is your partner giving you the support you need? Are your coworkers giving you the support that you need? Is your boss just sitting in a tower and like giving you commands, but not also helping out? If there's limited staff or something, you can say, I need your help on this. So try to find equity if it doesn't exist. Try to create it if you're in a position to do it, and realize that none of us are above participating and helping the common good. And I think that's the main message that I got there. And this is just a continuation of that. The way that you can do that is by nurturing and also collaborating with those around you. Of course, pigeons are both symbolic messengers, and then you can also have like the carrier pigeon, right? Or the homing pigeon, where you can send something and it comes back. So as a messenger from the divine, what I basically intuited with this is that messages are incoming. It's like you're a satellite dish, but unless you tune into the frequency, you may not be picking up on it. And I've been talking a lot about like the whispers of intuition. It doesn't always have to be a visual that you receive. It doesn't always have to be something that's sensory. It could just be a thought that starts with you in the morning and you can't kind of get out of your head until you do something about it. It's intuition. I need to call this person. I really should take care of this. Oh my goodness, I forgot to follow up on that. Whatever that thought is, tap it into your tablet or your phone or write it down on a piece of paper and make sure that you capture it. That's a powerful message from your higher self, from the divine. And as you start to tune into more of those, then the channel will widen. Then you might receive it in different ways, but it starts as whispers before you actually can hear and see and feel more. With the carrier pigeon sort of message, or the homing pigeon symbology, what I was thinking is that they always come back home, and the word home really stuck with me. So I feel like some of us are in a sort of shifting environment. Maybe you had to move in with your parents or in with a friend, or move out of a place and go into an apartment for a little bit. You could be sort of feeling a little bit transient right now. So the message here is that you should try to be at home wherever you are for however long you are there, even if it's temporary. So take time to unpack a little bit. When I had a corporate job, there was a period of time where I think they were flying me all the time to the East Coast. And there was one time where I had to sort of be in a hotel for 2 or 3 weeks. And in order to make the best of that, I thought, well, I'm just going to unpack all my stuff, put it into the closet, put it into the drawers, and actually feel like for this month that I'm here, that I'm actually living here for a little bit, and that I'm not just sort of looking into the bags all the time. So even if you're in a temporary situation, if there's something that you can do to make it feel a little bit more homey, that'll be helpful. For those of you that are evolving and adjusting to the new sort of way of working and learning, the same thing is true for reorganizing your space. So take time to make distinct places to work, to play, to learn, and to rest. In my bedroom, I don't have a television on purpose because I don't really want to be watching that. Maybe if I'm kind of awake and I need to look at something on my phone, I will. But at a certain point, I don't want the TV in my bedroom. It distracts me, so that's not there. This is a smaller sort of space. So what I do is, like, in this area, I have an office. If I want to rest over there, I can rest over there. If I want to cook over there, I can do that. So I still have spaces. You can have one room with a lot of different spaces. And if you're looking in different directions, you can make the most of it. I don't live in a large place. I live in a small place. So you can make, even in my bedroom, I have a place where I will write. It's different from where I'll read. It's different from where I would, watch TV, or where I would eat. So just take little corners of the space and claim them. You can use separators if you want to. And you can also just decide to look at that space and then make it look nice. You can be creative with your spaces. This is going to help you focus. And it's also going to help you tune in or tune out what you need to. Okay. So this is one of the new things I think we're all adjusting to. A home is now kind of turning into a multi-purpose place, and you have to make sure that you don't mix and match. So it's better if you're not to take your laptop or tablet into your bedroom and do work there. It's better to not, try to mix and match work while you're eating or trying to watch TV. Just compartmentalize, and I think you'll be happier. The next thing that I think of with the dove is peace, and choosing that as the option. Sometimes we have a hard time. I think everybody has had a moment where you just feel like, I got to let this out. I need to say something. I need to do something. Really lean on your skills of diplomacy, empathy, and negotiation first and foremost. I do think communication is good, and this is a segue into the next area, but remember that your words can either elevate and inspire, or they can sort of deflate and even destroy. Words are power, and they are powerful. So you want to really try to do something with them that is going to inform. And if it's critical, it's going to be constructive in the criticism, not just sort of saying everything and having sort of this eruption of emotion. One of the ways to do that is just to make sure that there is more frequent communication with whomever or whatever it is that you need to sort of get out there. So talking more often and giving people littler pieces to digest is going to be more effective. And trying to somehow make it about, I didn't capture it in the cards, but this is a piece of it, but trying to find a common good. Say, I think we can both agree that this is something that we care about. Maybe it's a relationship, so you care about each other, or it could be a job and you're trying to kind of get a deadline or a project finished, whatever it is. Find the commonality and say, this is where we're sort of struggling, but we both want this. So let's try some different approaches. So find the commonality, acknowledge the problem, talk about what you could do better and some ideas for what the other person could do better, and see what would happen. It's a lot better than just sort of, going straight in like the King or Queen of Swords in reverse. We have to try to elevate a little bit. All right. Don't send a first draft. I saw a relative of mine who's in spirit who always spoke their mind, and they're older, so they were using a typewriter, and they handed me the sheet of paper afterwards, and I saw all these, like, if you ever remember like using a typewriter, sometimes if you did it too fast, the keys would stick and you would see it. And then also there was no correction ribbon. So I was seeing all of these errors and I thought, we can't send this out. This is a first draft. So make sure that you keep some things in your draft folder. And word to the wise, don't even put a recipient. This is something that will save you. Or use Microsoft Word or something like that to draft it out, save it, print it, share it with someone, and have them sort of take a look at it. I think that sending a second, third, or fourth draft could save you a lot of trouble, okay? It is important to communicate, but sometimes you just need to get it out and vent. We don't want that venting communication to be what they receive. Elevate it a bit, be more constructive, and then let it out. We're at a point right now where I think the best of us need help, and everybody needs help. So ask for help if you need it. If you're in a place of abundance and you're feeling really good, give help if you can as well. And first of all, before we move on, asking for help is a sign of power, and it's also a sign of being able to like regulate and control and understand limits and what's going on. So it's super important to reach out and use those resources. I just want to emphasize that shows that you're strong. If you can give support, then you may be inspired to quote unquote pay it forward with an act of service. Back when I was studying yoga, there's this word called seva, S-E-V-A, and it basically means giving because you want to give without the expectation of receiving. It's just like, I want to do it. It feels good. I know it helps you. That makes me happy. When you give from that unconditional point of view, then basically you start to open up a flow of abundance in your life, because what you're showing the universe is, I have more than enough. In fact, I'm going to give a little bit. And then the universe says, like, great, we're going to give you more because you seem to do well with this stuff and you're sharing the love and you're sharing the energy. If you ever find yourself at a point where you're down on your luck a little bit, you should look at my reading yesterday, because I really believe that we create our luck. I'll talk about that in a second. If you feel like luck isn't working for you, the way that you can shift the perspective on that, first of all, is to think, I make my luck, so I'm going to change my luck. And one of the ways I'm going to change my luck is by an act of gratitude or an act of exchange or service. So you don't have to pay. You can sometimes just give a little bit of time, a little bit of love, a little bit of space, whatever it is that you have. Maybe even if you have some old clothes or something, giving that to charity. Even if you yourself are looking for some money, if you have something that you don't need, but someone else can take it and use it, then get rid of that and open up abundance, open up a little bit of space for something new and or better to come into your life. You can say to the universe, I trust that more will come. I'm going to give this because I'm not using it and I don't need it, and I hope somebody else can make proper use of it. That'll actually shift your luck a little bit. I said yesterday that luck, to me, is really, we interpret it more as when like a synchronicity comes in, and the synchronicity takes a little bit of work and belief. So just start to believe in yourself, keep working on things, and change your luck. Luck is not sort of like random. It's being prepared, it's doing the work, it's opening up a synchronicity. So I don't so much believe in serendipity. I think it's more about synchronicity. So I talked a little bit about that yesterday. I'm not going to belabor it here, but it's worth listening if you want to. Okay, let's move along into the next piece here. So I really think that we're in a place right now where it's inevitable that changes are happening, and I felt that energy for you. But it also felt to me like it could be a lot of fun. So having enthusiasm and curiosity could be helpful. So if you feel like you want to make a change, start to research what it is you want to do, especially if you're going to move somewhere. I didn't put it in the cards, but that was explicitly what I was sort of seeing in my visions was if you want to move to a new job, move to a new house, move in or move out, I just want you to do a little research to figure out how would I feel in this new space. So spend some time getting to know whatever it is that is going to be around that. So if you're going to move, it might be good to kind of spend a week somewhere that you're going to move and make sure that you like the neighborhood, you like the community, et cetera. I mean, right now it's kind of tough because everything's on lockdown, but lock it away for any change that you're going to do. The research portion is important. And I think that you could be researching what you're going to do next year. When I've made big changes in my life, sometimes I will chart them out as much as 6, 8, 12, 24 months. So it isn't always just, even though we're looking at it now, you could be planting the seeds now for what's going to happen next year. And I keep emphasizing 2021 is the year where we really see the growth. This is the year for cleaning everything up. It's the mopping up year. So mop up and then plant the seeds, or it's kind of like if you're a farmer, go out there and rework the fields. It wasn't working, whatever we were working on, and you have to like plant a new crop too. So change is important, change is inevitable, but before you make the change, do some research. Since we were talking about like if you were trying to change your luck or your abundance, one way that you can also do that and it will have an immediate effect is self-confidence. When we look at the 5 of Pentacles card in particular, you'll see someone that, and even the 4 of Pentacles, these are both limiting cards. The 4, in fact, is showing like, I'm afraid that I won't have enough, so I'm going to hold on to what I have, but you're not actually opening up to allow more to come in. So when you hold on too tight, things won't flow towards you. With the 5 of Pentacles, it's a feeling like nobody wants me and I'm not good enough, or I've been rejected and I'm focusing on the rejection. What I want you to do instead is focus on investing in yourself and thinking that was just situations in the past. Somebody didn't see the opportunity of connecting with me and that's their miss. And I'm not going to worry about what was a year ago or a month ago or a day ago, because today is different. So I'm going to open myself up to 1, believe in myself, and 2, believe that today could be different. And I trust what I'm able to do. So I believe in myself. And what you could just say is I'm more than enough for myself and I'm more than enough for others. So let's go forward and find some opportunities where people can see that I'm a good bet, if you will, right? The other thing is so that's one way that you can clear that channel. The other one is mixed messages. Since I'm kind of now going back to the carrier pigeon a little bit, or the dove, like the messenger from the divine. If you want to do something, do it. Try not to apologize for it. Try not to kind of also act differently than what it is that you're trying to say. So I've been also talking about this quite a bit. You have to walk the walk as well. So don't send mixed signals or messages, because then you're going to start to get tests from the universe to see, well, wait a second, we thought you were ready for this. Are you not? We're going to test you. So really be clear in your messaging and be consistent in the way that you manage things. And I think that's going to be important to opening up better opportunities in the long run. I think you have a chance to rework an agreement or something that you kind of set into place before. And we forget our own power sometimes. It could simply be having a conversation with whoever that agreement was with. So if it's a boss, you could go in and say, I know I agreed that I was going to do this, but my goals have changed, or my health has changed, or my passion has changed, and I'd really like to focus more on this. Let's make it happen. How can we do that over the course of the next year? Just have a conversation, see what's possible. Even if it's rent, for instance, like the economy's changed, you could have a conversation with a landlord and say, I'd like to stay, but the neighborhood's changed. There's no more places to eat or to hang out. People are moving out. What can we do to try to negotiate something that's fairer, especially if your income's changed? Just talk. You never know what's possible until you renegotiate or you take it to the table. You'll also get a feel for if that's the right place too. And for this, I would actually research and see what, if you're looking to buy a house or rent a place or renegotiate a salary, do the research first so that you can back it up. And that's going to help make a better case. If you just go in and ask for less, people will probably shoot you down because they're also suffering. So you have to make a good case for yourself. So all of these build on one another. Don't be combative, do your research, state your case, check it with someone else. All of that will help out. Ultimately, trust in yourself and really pick and choose and trust your timing as well. There's a right time and place to say or do anything. And if it doesn't feel right, don't commit to it. And those are your channeled messages. So I'm going to stack up these cards really quickly, and then we're going to go into the Celtic Cross. I review these at the midpoint because sometimes we see additional sort of like clarifying messages as I look at the Celtic Cross. So don't worry if you missed anything. I'll hold each one up to the camera at the midpoint, and we'll get a little bit more depth and clarity at that point. And I see some people saying that they've tried to do things. Well, that's a sign then that you might want to look elsewhere. As I said, it gives you an idea for what's possible. You never know until you try. And if you get shot down on something, whether it's a job or a rate or somebody that's just not willing to listen to you, then that's a sign that that's not the place to be, or that you might have to explore other options. So you never know until you try. And you can always try again in the future. And again, it's really about research, timing, and then taking that message and not trying to force it, because you don't want to be like trying to take a square peg in a round hole or vice versa. If it doesn't fit, or if it's not a fit, or if someone's not listening to you, why do you want to keep engaging with that energy? Kind of like a relationship. If you're constantly waiting for someone to pick up the phone and call, they're not that interested. And if you are constantly fighting with somebody, there might be an opportunity to find someone where it's not so contentious. So look at all types of communications and allow that to be part of your decision for long-term opportunities. All right, at this point, I'm going to remain quiet and take a look at the cards in front of me, but we'll analyze it together afterwards. So thank you. Okay. Again, this is for the month of February, and you can use it for sun, rising, and moon. All right, everybody, thanks for giving me a moment to get set up here. And let's talk about the messages that came through with the cards. We'll start with the catalyst. We have this beautiful sort of integration card here. When I see this, this is really talking about light and shadow portions, which we all contain. And actually, one of the sort of shadow energies came up here, which is envy. So we're going to take a look at how you can maybe feel a sense of happiness and celebration for people around you that are doing well. And if there's someone in your periphery, in your circle, that can't sort of celebrate your success, this is going to be probably an area where you want to pull back a little bit. So, but for the light and dark parts of ourself, really whenever we feel fear, frustration, anger, they're there to inform us and to illustrate something. It's two parts of the same whole. In my book, The Luminous Ones, I mean, I'm actually kind of pulling light beings and darker beings, and it's sort of about the integration that has to be done with them ultimately, probably in the next book. And I think that we all have that. We started off luminous and we started off bright, but for whatever reason, in this particular dimension, in this particular world, there is context given through light and dark, something I talked about earlier a couple signs ago. And the cool thing is, I believe light always finds a way. And I talked about that as well earlier. And if you go back to like the earliest parts of the universe, there was matter and antimatter. And what we have here is what was able to survive that sort of fight between, somethingness and nothingness. So this is a lot of leftovers, and we were the strongest pieces of that battle. So at this point, yes, there's always kind of an inner battle between light and dark, but I actually feel like it's kind of like yin and yang. It's just different aspects of our personality, and there's always choices to make. So choose the elevated form and thank this for coming through to show you the opportunity and why you are triggered. And once you start to go into that, light workers don't run from the dark. You shine your light. You take the lantern of the hermit and you shine straight into that and say, why are you here? What do I need to know? And what can I do to transmute the energy? So you're being called this month to transmute parts of yourself that you need to deal with. The moon card, the hermit card help us see it. The hermit's shrouded in darkness, but he carries the light. He's not afraid. He's got all the power inside, and he's secretly the star. And I talked about that. He holds the star and eventually becomes the star. So there's a little bit of waiting that's going on for you for a big move, for a big shift, for some integration, for you to get through something. But this is really what's there. It's always been what's there. So rather than run or be afraid, just kind of move into that energy and say, all right, I see you, I understand you, and now I'm going to choose to shine. Okay? So that's the main thing that I'm seeing there. There may be someone in your life that's coming back and testing you. This can also be what you're calling in. We are constantly attracting and also pushing away new people, places, and things in our life. So when we have a fear, doubt, or uncertainty, we attract this. When we have faith, hope, love, security, then we attract this. So we can do either, we can do both. Just make some good choices this month, and I'll help you as we look at the cards, figure out which shoulder the energy is sitting on, what's coming through, okay? In my book, I made a distinct choice to call it shadow energy. It's not evil. It's just a lower frequency, right? Let's not demonize that. We are both light and dark. So let's just look at it and we'll figure out how to deal with what the sort of shadow energy is showing us. All right, Hermit. As I said, for some of you, the Hermit's upright. So there may be sort of this internal stage of discovery that's going on for you. Thinking, who am I? What do I want to do? What makes me tick? What am I seeking? He has the crow or a raven on his shoulder, another sort of messenger from beyond. And so for many of you, you are receiving messages, and I feel like you might even have an idea of what's next. So the Hermit can lead to things like Three of Pentacles or Eight of Pentacles, deciding to go back to school, deciding to train yourself, reading up on things, just being contemplative and thinking like, I need to know more about this. So contemplating something that you care about. The interesting thing for this Hermit is he is looking at a path here in front of him. It's almost like he's doing a little bit of investigation. So some of you might be reflecting on how you got where you're at. How did I end up here? Four of Cups energy, right? You might also be thinking, how do I get where I need to be? So there's a little bit of like tracking energy in this particular Hermit where he's going kind of using his third eye and his lantern, his star to figure out what's the best path. So I think that's a good thing to be doing throughout this month, throughout the next couple of months, is really tuning into your heart, tuning into your soul, and then using it, imagining that you had scales and thinking like, all right, is this bringing me closer to or further away from what I'm trying to do? The Hermit's trying to figure out, though, the destination so that there's a purpose and a means and a way to get there. We have the Queen of Pentacles right on top of it. I love that we see a cornucopia with this as well. This is showing that abundance is on the horizon, right? And it feels like a lot of you have done work to to feel secure. So I mentioned that, just kind of solidify whatever missing pieces might be there. This is also a card of house and home. So we don't see it so much in this card. We kind of see the castle behind her, but there is abundance, and I usually associate this with mothers and fathers. And so that's why I wanted you to feel at home. The message about helping or asking for help came through because a lot of times maternal or paternal types give more than they take. So if this, especially since she wasn't reversed, I'm looking at the nurturing qualities of Queen of Pentacles. So just make sure that there is an equal exchange. King and Queen of Pentacles have a Midas touch. So if you continue to invest in things, especially the Queen, actually, because it's a much more fertile energy than the King. The King is more managerial. The Queen is able to nurture, to grow, to create. So this month, some of what you're doing is incubating. We talked about the male and female pigeons being able to incubate. You're taking something, an idea, a part of your consciousness, something that you're working on, a project, and you're finishing it up. And maybe there's a little bit of, you're going to keep it quiet while you're doing that. There's nothing wrong with that. But eventually it needs to see the light of day. And I think that the two of these energies can work together to figure out how and when. So creating sort of like a marketing plan or for some sort of a release or a coming out or an announcement. There's an eventual need for you to step out of the hermit. The hermit can only exist for so long. So spend a month or two if you need to develop something, then I feel like it's time to get more energy in it so they can grow, because otherwise it's a constricting energy. We have the Five of Pentacles, which I talked about a little bit earlier. And as you can see, it often has to do with recovering from an injury in the lower extremities, like ankle, foot, knees. Can also be for those of you that might be working with a wheelchair or a prosthetic. But for the rest of us, it's really about looking at how can I feel supported and really leaning on your own support. This person's reaching out, but I'm also telling you that you have what it takes. So ask for help if you need it, but also realize that you're able to create new things on your own. You're worth investing in. You're a good bet, like I said earlier, and you have to believe that for other people to believe it as well. Typically in the Five of Pentacles, you would see a church, temple, or mosque behind the person, and you would see another person, and they're kind of not looking at each other. So this other person just seems to be MIA in this particular illustration. But what I would say is, has somebody in your life finally shown their true colors, where maybe you've been there for them time and again, but this time when you needed them, they just didn't pick up the phone or they didn't show up? That's okay. It's not a great thing to experience, but it also helps you understand where they are at as far as who you can depend on and how much you're going to maybe invest in them in the future. So take it as a blessing in disguise so that you can start to put time and energy on yourself. And don't depend solely on the approval of mom, dad, boss, lover, friend, society, because ultimately these things come and go and their loyalties may come and go. So it's important to really be able to trust in yourself as well. It's nice to have the support. It's nice to have the approval. It's not required to be successful or to be happy. And that's really what the Five of Pentacles is saying, to heal yourself and to feel your own strength and to stand tall. Okay. We have the Seven of Cups here. It's reversed. The Seven of Cups is cool because it shows all of the different opportunities in front of you. The reversal is actually auspicious because it tells me that you're starting to figure it out, home in on something that you really care about. So that's a good thing. And I feel like if you are in a brainstorming phase right now, trying to explore all the possibilities, by the end of the month, it seems like you're going to be in a place where you will be able to make the decision, right? The interesting thing is, with any given decision in our life, it doesn't matter how many cards you pull, how much you meditate, all the alternatives that you look at, there is a certain point where you have to just sort of feel out what's right. I've done the research. I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And you just move forward. You have to make the best move forward. So don't get lost in all the possibilities. It's good to know what you could have done. Eventually pick a choice. It feels good. You made the right choice. Move forward with it. Learn the lessons associated with it. And then there'll be new Seven of Cups moments that pop up where you have new options. There's always going to be things to explore. Okay. This is one of the coolest illustrations for the Four of Cups that I've seen. We have an elephant here on top of all of these vessels. And what I like about this is you really want to focus on the foundations that you're building. Normally, I would see that with like Four of Pentacles, but this is about the relationships around you. So the pillars in your life, you don't need a lot. You can have 2, 3, or 4 as we see with this, but if you have those core relationships around you, then it's able to withstand amazing sort of challenges or weight as we see with this. I also see the elephant as very lucky. Ganesha and also just elephants are good luck. So I feel like you can make it work and you can withstand this situation that you're going through. The Four of Cups is an opportunity that's hidden or a blessing in disguise or something that you just have to reach for and go for. The traditional Rider-Waite-Smith would show that extra cup in the sky or in the tree behind them or somewhere hidden, depending on which derivative you're looking at. And this one is saying, you know what, I already reached out for it and it was worth it. So this is kind of like a nod to say, try that weird idea that you have. Don't give up. Don't feel like you've reached a full dead end. There's probably a secret panel or a secret way through it. Keep pushing, keep looking, keep innovating. There are other possibilities. There's more than meets the eye. And this is a very resourceful card, as we see the Horn of Plenty there and more things growing behind her and a castle, obviously a lot of abundance. So you can make it work is what I'm seeing here. All right, and then we have the Six of Cups here, which is, it's a really unusual Six of Cups as well. Everything in this particular deck is unique. So normally with the Six of Cups, you would see children, right? And you would see this sort of connection to the past. But what we're seeing here is basically not giving up on giving your all, investing in something that you're passionate about, having some fun with it, having some patience with it. The sixth vessel is actually the watering can that she's using here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's kind of cool. So what I would say for you is that you are the one that you seek. There is no other person here. And so the people around you are mirrors of that. And that's why I kind of felt that the Five of Pentacles energy would probably come through. And so yes, by the way, this is Leo, Sun, Rising, and Moon. I saw a question there. So the important thing for you to focus on is to really look at what do you want to do with your passion, okay? It's an investment. Some of you might want to put it in a relationship, but some of you might decide to put it in something symbolic, like I said, investing in yourself, going to school, building something that you love. Passion isn't always people. Passion is feeling and living and sort of exchanging that energy of love. And if you're not feeling it in what you're studying, who you're spending time with, what you're working at, if you're retired, if you feel like you need something new to kind of occupy your time and space, this is a time to hit reset and think, 1, how do I feel when I'm alone? 2, how do I feel when I'm with other people? And what can I do in these situations to feel more of an exchange of love? So I think there is the reason that the Hermit came through at the center. It's self-discovery. And a lot of these cards are actually focused on self. So if we were to just revisit them quickly so that I can kind of go on that, this is about finding worth within, not from others, and not feeling sad if somebody doesn't give you the validation that you need. Mom, dad, boss, coworker. If you feel like you're doing the right thing, you probably are. And if you can't get the support, there may be people around you just incapable of that. And then with this, it's not the amount of people that you have, the amount of money in your bank account, anything like that. The pillars of success for you are actually your key relationships in your life and also just feeling strong and passionate about what you're doing, having some clarity. And it's good to do soul searching. The Four of Cups is a soul searching card. The Six of Cups is saying, now I actually realize I can create something new. We see the flower growing and she's actually watering other ones. So put that time and energy that maybe you were putting into a job or a relationship, maybe redirect some of this into something that truly feeds you as well. That equity is necessary, especially if you are a nurse, a mom, a healer, anybody that does a lot of giving to others. This is about giving to yourself and nurturing yourself so that you can grow too. And hopefully your partners will allow for that. But if not, then this is also something to look at to kind of find that equity. Like the male pigeon, everybody should be able to kick in and do their equal parts. When I look at ego, we have the Nine of Wands. And this is Interesting illustration for the Nine of Wands. So when I'm looking at this, I feel like some of you, it may be too late. You're kind of already embroiled in a difficult situation. So we see someone here in the fire, but they're not getting burnt. So I think there's a choice here to figure out, all right, if something's happened, if I'm in the middle of it, what can I do to push it forward and into a place of, like I said, conflict resolution, diplomacy? How can I better the situation? I'm certainly not going to fan the flames of the fire. I'm going to find a way to try to resolve this and try to get everybody into a good space. Now, the Nine of Wands has a different energy when we take it out of this illustration. So the normal Nine of Wands is about perseverance and perspective as well. Sometimes when we go far enough on our path, we can sometimes in that last leg of the journey, if you imagine someone in a long distance run, or if you've ever watched a marathon runner, right? The body does weird, crazy things. They kind of lose control of their body in that last few paces towards the finish line. You see some people give up. You see some people spazzing out a little bit because their body is giving out the lactic acid and all that other stuff is going crazy. And then you see some people that just push through. They're like, I've worked for this for like 2 years. I've trained. I'm going to finish. So kind of analyze, where are you at in this right now? You could just be feeling burnt out, right? That's what this is also. Feeling the sort of flames of the fire. I've been in this too long. I'm burned out. This is definitely a time to ask for help. And if you're in a place where they don't give you the help, because this Five of Pentacles can be literal, you're asking for help, but you're not getting it. It's time to find a better place to put your time and energy. It's time to take care of yourself, because you do get a little bit wounded with the Nine of Wands and it aggregates over time. So we can take a lot, but you shouldn't have to forever and ever and ever. Stand up for yourself. Finish what you started and get out of something if it's not fulfilling you, or if it feels even like it's too much of a burden, or if it's even abusive or someone's abusing power. This is definitely something where it's time to move on. Okay. So you can do it. You can make it work. But I feel like in the long run, you should be happier. So don't give up. For some of you, this is really just about finishing what you started. For some of you, this is about making sure that you're not abusing yourself by working too hard. There may also be like a workplace where they're not supporting you. And for the rest of you, it's just sort of saying push through maybe that feeling of I want to let go and be like the marathon runner and just finish the race and then get on to the next thing. Okay? Perseverance, perspective, and also doing what's right. So if someone's not doing what's right, this is time to bubble it up, talk to someone. And yeah, it could even be like a legal thing, but you'll figure out what you want to do with that. We have the Ten of Cups here. And this is interesting. We have like a beaker with this one. So Ten of Cups is usually very positive. It's love. It can be community. It can be family. It can be feeling like you're at home. It could be even, usually I associate with Ten of Pentacles with a new home, but I think this is more the people that are around you that you would call family. But it can be like a pressure cooker right now, especially for those of you, even if it's just you and a roommate, you and a friend, or you and your partner living together. All of a sudden, this stuff is starting to bubble up, and you feel sometimes like you're you're on the hot plate, right, or hot seat. So I think what's important right now is to find a way to alleviate this. There's really no vent in this system, and there needs to be one. So I would say for you, what is your outlet? Who can you talk to? How can you kind of escape? Even if you're alone, this can still feel like a pent-up energy, right? I normally wouldn't see it with the Ten of Cups, but the way this is illustrated shows me that there's pressure, or there is a feeling of isolation, because Ten of Cups reverse can be missing that. So you would benefit with some sort of an outlet, creative outlet, social outlet, or even talking to a therapist, some way to get that out. We talked about that, interestingly enough, in yesterday's reading as well with Cancer. So I feel like this is a common thread this month, and it makes a lot of sense. There's some weird stuff going on in the world, and on top of the pandemic, and on top of about a year or a year and a half of isolation. So this is normal. So reach out, keep in touch. I've been doing a lot of virtual hangouts with friends too, and it actually helps. It's great to see old faces that you haven't seen, even if it is just through the computer. You're always welcome to join here, by the way, even if it's not your sign. You'll probably get something that's good out of the reading, and I'm happy to have you here. So if you're feeling lonely or feeling sad, show up, listen to the messages, and see if they'll help you out. All right. So let's look at hopes, fears, and possibilities. We have the Chariot card also in reverse. So some of what's going on in the environment with the 10 of Cups actually has to do with a power struggle. Yesterday, it was interesting. For Cancer, I talked a lot about being the chariot, not feeling like you're being tugged, not feeling like you have to pull someone, not feeling like, you have to decide which, just doing it all, being that energy. This is a very unique chariot where it's about catch-up time too. We're not looking at the person from the front, we're seeing them already on their path. So my message to you is now. It's time to act now because other people are already moving forward. And also we have to start to move. We can't go backwards, back to the old. There is only the new, and this is really a time where we're being pushed into change. So I'm encouraging you to just take a step forward. And if there's a power struggle, there may be someone around you who's just unwilling, incapable, or ill-prepared to deal with the changing environment. And if that's the case, then you might have to sort of take charge. So if they're not willing to allow that, then again, this is a chance for you to redirect and think, well, it's time for me to move in a different direction. The good news is we have abundance and fertility here in your final card. We have the Ace of Pentacles. We have a lovely little hare or jackrabbit there in the corner, and it's spring. We see the iris blooming in the background and spring flowers and everything. So for the Northern Hemisphere, that's within reach. And I also just think of April as well, universally, so Northern or Southern Hemisphere. What we're looking at here is probably a couple of months away. So if you can just hold on and keep working on things, I feel like there's a shift coming. There's a positive movement. This can be a new job. This can be new love. This can be an engagement. This can be a contract. So when I was talking about renegotiating or negotiating, before you decide to sign again, for those of you that are looking at like a lease, do your research, look around. And before you sign a contract for a job, do your research, look around. Make sure that you've got the best possible contract in place, because this shows me there's a way to find more or do more with your money. It's not always about making more. Remember the dove message. It's about being resourceful. So lowering your costs can give you more money simply by saying, that was not a good expenditure, so I'm going to do something different. But I like this. I like this quite a bit, actually. So there's something new. There's like a hand coming out and saying, are you ready? And are you ready to receive this? And we'll take a look at it as we kind of expand the forecast here as well. All right, let me take a quick drink and we're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. Okay, let's start with the health card. This particular deck uses words that I wouldn't, but I actually don't mind because it's kind of like a regular tarot spread where we see something like death or the tower. So when I see the low frequency word, I'm going to read the caption, but I think we need to work on how to flip the word. So it says, in the caption, they kind of give you some of it. It says, I am the same as everybody, but with different challenges. I think the better way to look at this, we look at the color here. This is really about lower chakras, right? Like root chakra, safety. So sometimes when somebody gets ahead, and by the way, you've got two aces here. This is someone else. This is you. So we should be celebrating. You should be celebrating other people's success because your Ace of Pentacles is on the horizon. This was in the near future. So I always think when somebody around me is doing well, that I'm doing well because I've attracted high frequency people. So I'm inspired by people that are successful and happy, and all parts of their life are firing on all sort of cylinders. That's who you want to be with. Be happy that you're in that periphery, and then keep working and thinking, well, it's probably within my reach too. They just got there a little faster. And if you stick around with people that are doing well, that are happy, that are successful, you have to sort of, by definition, if you're still in their circle, you have to raise your frequency. Because if you do this, you're going to lose them. You're going to lose that. You either raise or you go lower. And when you go lower, then they're going to keep going higher, and then you just kind of spiral out. So envy needs to quickly be checked, and you think, what's going on? It's actually that I am upset at myself for a lack of progress. I'm not angry at them, but I'm triggered by their success because there's something in my own life that I could do to possibly get there myself. So good for that person. Thank you for triggering me so that I can make the change that I need. So instead of getting angry or envious or jealous, think instead, wow, I'm so glad I know what I want now. Clearly, that's something that I didn't know that I was interested in. And I'm glad that that person showed me that piece of myself. So they showed you something that you hadn't integrated, that was lurking around you. Hey, why aren't you doing this? Why haven't we done this? I have a regret. I'm regret. Why aren't you listening to me? So that's all envy is really showing you, is that there was some shadow energy of something that you haven't resolved. Resolve it, and then envy becomes the ace, and then you become the ace. So it's a perspective card here. Health this month isn't just about your body. I'll look at your body here in a second with the cards. It's also emotional, and something that's core like that can sometimes break down your health as well. It is looking at the root chakra, so you want to pay attention to what we're looking at here, the Five of Pentacles. So the root is going to be everything from like the base of the spine all the way to your feet. But so for some of you, again, balance. And if there's any injuries in the ankle, the knee, or the leg in general, just take care of that. It's really important to have, physical therapy or rehabilitation, or just moving a little bit more. That's going to be key, the circulation. The other thing with the root is it can also affect, for those of you that might have a history of colon cancer in your family or digestive issues, it can sometimes go into that part of the body too. Like the colon or the sexual organs, depending on what's going on in your family. So from an energetic standpoint, you want to start to work on feeling safe, feeling happy, feeling a sense of empowerment, and then also working on anything in your body that needs help. And then if there's anything that you want to be proactive on, looking at that, the root chakra is really important to take care of. It gets neglected a lot. Focusing on meditating with a tree is a great way to heal that. And you can really lean into the tree and trace the energy of the roots. We'll do it in our meditation today, and really call in the healing energy from the tree and allow that to kind of take what we don't need. And then we can pull energy from above and below, just like the magician would. So anyway, we'll do more of that in a second. So again, your extremities, specifically below the waist, looking at your hips, your knees, your ankles, those parts of your body need some extra love this month. Okay. And then emotional as well, because we have a lot of cups coming through. So I would say just perspective and finding a way to kind of deal with some of the emotional stress in your life. I think that's going to be important. When we look at wealth, view from above, get the big picture. So this is more difficult now because for some of us, we haven't seen our coworkers for a long time, right? Except on Zoom or, Cisco or teleconference meetings. And so trying to get perspective, like, why am I doing this? What's going on? And getting inspired again. Also for those of you that are in school, whether it's, college or you're just in your senior year of high school or something and trying to push through it, it's important not to give up. Same for those of you that are non-traditional and, older and going back to school. It's the long-term thing. We're not going to be doing this forever. And once the pandemic is done, you can use those skills to get in that balloon and go the distance, right? And for some of you, you might have finally gotten perspective. Getting out of the office, away from the cubicles or even the open office, and it's just you and you're doing the work, but now there's not that environment. Do you still like the work? Is it still what you want? This is a chance to change directions. And the air balloon is very open in where it can go. It's not like a car. It's not like a boat or a plane. It's a little bit more, it floats around a little bit. So I feel like a lot of us are like these air balloons trying to figure out, where should I land and where am I going? Perfectly okay right now to do that. But try to not limit yourself. The sky's the limit with that, right? And I think that some good things can come for you, okay? When I'm looking tangibly at wealth, there's probably chance for a new job on the horizon, or a new client on the horizon, or an opening, something different. The ace is something new, or it's a change, or it can be considerable growth. I think that the changes that you make now are going to affect that. So you have to keep shifting and moving and changing and look at it from another angle. Try something different for sure. And then the other thing here was to avoid getting pulled into someone else's situation. This can be someone roping you into drama, and that's not worth it. You can fight the fight that you feel is worthwhile, but don't get kind of like stuck in someone else's storm here. But yes, I see a shift and some movement on the horizon. And the last thing that I'm looking at with work is also, are you ready to take more of a role of management or accountability? I think that would be really important. If that's something that you want to do, have a conversation or look for opportunities where you can maybe be more in control. If you have a boss or someone around you that micromanages, the chariot reverse can be also putting an end to that. So anyway, let's look at relationships. What a powerful word to come through for this, faith. So for some of you, faith may be tested because of distance, because of even just having faith that you can get through certain things. But I also see faith in and of itself as a really powerful word. So I think that a good bar or a good litmus test to figure out, am I in the right relationship, is, does it give me that sense of trust and faith and hope? If you've got that in your friendship, in your love interest, in your whatever the relationship is, then you are solid gold. You're great. So start to look and think, do I have faith? Do I trust this person? And if they've challenged that, I really feel like you need to have a conversation about that and figure out, is that okay? Is that something you want to allow in? Trust yourself. I was mentioning earlier, I think that's the most important thing. Have faith in yourself, and then in the long run, you'll also break that cycle. If you've ever had someone that doesn't trust you or has given you reason to not trust them, you're going to focus on calling in a higher partnership. When I'm looking at the cards here, it's more about personal growth this month. We have the Queen of Pentacles coming through, but there is sort of this isolated energy with the Hermit underneath it. I do feel like some of you are just meant to figure out who you are, what you want, where you're going, and then look at who's around you and think, is this the right thing for me? For some of you, the answer is yes. This can be a proposal. For some of you, you might decide to go on a new path and try something different. It can be a beginning. It can also be walking away from something and choosing something different. But it's a choice that you have to make. The Ace of Pentacles is a choice. So I feel like you're going to get there. You can't ignore what's underneath the surface here. So if this were the Moon card, this would be like the little scorpion coming out or whatever. You have to pay attention to what's surfacing. So you'll either regain faith or lose it. And that's going to be what's necessary for you to figure it out. Okay. March to the beat of your own drum. The final card is Destiny. And Destiny is one of your choosing. It says dream and journey. We have a drum card here, sacred symbols here. Native symbols as well. And so I would say for this point in your journey, there is no right or wrong. This is your choice. And in fact, the more successful you are, the more you may deviate from the expected norms. Because when you think of amazing pieces of literature, of music, interesting people in the world, they typically have a sense of individuality. So your individuality is going to be your defining attribute that's really going to help people see you above and beyond the other folks and say, yeah, I'm interested. So march to the beat of your own drum. All right, let's review everything, and then we'll go into the soul path and get some additional insight. I see we're up against the clock a little bit, so I'll try to go a little faster on this. Okay, so your spirit totem is the dove or the pigeon. It's pretty much the same thing. And what the doves were showing me was a resourceful energy. Take what you have and build or rebuild. You're very able to kind of roll with the punches on this and do something great. So trust in yourself. Equality and also balance, I would say. I was fascinated that male pigeons are able to feed the young with the same sort of mechanism as the females, and they also take their turn incubating the nest as well. So if you're not getting that equal treatment in pay, in support, in understanding, that's something bigger that you have to really evaluate why you're letting that happen, or maybe seek some help with that as well. I would say as you start to attract new relationships and new opportunities in your life, you should be demanding or expecting that equal opportunity. Your nurturing and collaborative energies are going to be super essential, and the messages that are coming from spirit, they're ready to be delivered, but you have to be open to receiving them. So is the satellite turned on is my question for you. And wherever you're at right now, try to make it feel more at home for yourself, and especially separating areas of where you work, where you sleep, where you learn. All of these things need to be sort of compartmentalized, and that's going to help you with focusing. Try to choose the path of peace. It's easier to fight sometimes, but if you can listen, if you can negotiate, if you can try to resolve, it's going to be better. So using all of those skills is going to be one of the things that you're going to be challenged to do this month. Remember especially that words can elevate if you want them to. They can destroy if you want them to. Try to put them in a place of being inspirational instead and constructive. Don't use your first draft. Put it in another program before you speak, before you write, before you text. Get it all out and then try to pick the highlights and let the other stuff just sort of sit at the bottom of the pond. It wasn't really necessary. It's just something that you needed to do to get a sense of clarity. And yes, ask for help if you need it, lend support if you can. In fact, a way to open up abundance, no matter where you're at financially, is to give a little bit. Give in time, give in energy, give in resources. Volunteer work is a perfect example of that, and it opens up a network of abundance for you. Changes are happening. They're inevitable. Approach them with curiosity. Approach them also with the sense of, what can I do? Research the possibilities and see what's out there, and try not to limit it. We saw the wonderful kind of balloons here. So rise above the current situation and see what else is out there. Work on your self-confidence, and especially if you're looking for a new job or looking to negotiate something, you really have to believe it. It's less about asking a question. It would be more about observing something. You could say, this is the disparity. This is what I'd like to do. What can we do to remedy it? It's a lot stronger than, can I have this? It's more like, this isn't fair, and I've been working on this, and let's make this right. What can you do to make this right? When you ask a question like that, rather than, can I have more money? You could say, I'm making X% less than all the other people here, and I'm doing more work. Let's fix this. That's stronger. But you have to be willing to also call your bluff. So have a plan B if you're going to leave, for instance, in a job. In a relationship, same thing. You could just say, I've been putting in 110%. I know you're tired, but I need to see that you're equally ready for this. What can we do to fix this? Always ask, what can we do to fix this? Not, will you fix this? Can I have this? How are we going to fix this? And then if they don't have an idea, you can present your idea. All right. Try not to send mixed messages. Easier said than done, but you're going to be looking at verbal, nonverbal cues, and also just your general behavior. People are paying attention. And if you need to revise an agreement or negotiate, I've given you a lot of tools to do that, so go for it. And trust in yourself. I would say pick your timing as well to make sure that it's a good time for the other person. There's going to be some challenges between your shadow side and maybe other people's shadow sides this month. Sometimes it's just an emotion that you haven't paid attention to. The way to transmute it is to acknowledge, love, and integrate whatever it wants you to see or know, and then it fades away. The Hermit energy at the center is showing that a lot of you are in that place of contemplation. We see the contemplation here with the Seven of Cups. Guess what? You have exactly what it takes to make the right decision, because we have the Queen of Pentacles. Even if, maybe even especially if, you've been pushed around or said no to before, allow that to be your the fuel in your fire to create something positive. Really focus on key relationships, key passions in your life. If you have a strong foundation, anything can hold you up. It's a very foundational Four of Cups. The other thing here is that you should reach for that weird goal or that impossible thing, because it feels like it has like the bones to carry you as well. And then with the Six of Cups, redistributing your passion, not only in relationships, but in other things. It's not just about the soulmate. It's also about, what am I doing in my own soul path to grow? Because the more that you grow, the more that you're going to attract people in your life that are of that high resonance that you're seeking. Try not to get embroiled in other people's problems. Fight for what matters. Don't just fight. If there is something going on and you're feeling a little burned out, get that perspective and figure out, like, why was I doing this again? It's okay to eventually step away if you want to, but if it's that last, 100 yards of this, 5K run, it's important for you to finish up. Peer pressure, isolation, heaviness of emotion, a lack of outlet. There's a lot of things that could be building up on you. Pressure to say yes, by the way. If you were proposed to, or if you have a job that you're considering, or if there's someone that's trying to get you to sign something, make sure that you want to do it. You don't have to do it if you don't want to do it. This should feel good. So if it's too much pressure, you get to say yes or no. You have just as much control as them, okay? And that's the next piece here is equity. Just like the male pigeons do their part, everybody should be doing their part in your lives, taking equal role and equal responsibility. As you start to resolve all of this and learn from all of this, we have a new opportunity, we have growth. It's a great card. Also, again, I love that there's a good luck, almost Ganesha-like energy here with the Four of Cups. So see it from a different perspective, embrace this new opportunity, take control of it, and don't say yes unless you want to. And I feel like you're going to be in a good path. You're going to call in good people. The Six of Cups is a magnetic card. So you can do this. So is the Ten of Cups. So it's just really about perspective. Love yourself. Be happy for other people's success. And if you feel triggered because they did something that you want to do, make that a goal of yours. Don't get angry at them. Don't be envious of them. Instead, get inspired by them and use that inspiration to better yourself. That's really all we need with the health card there. The other piece, again, is just focusing on your legs, basically, and the root chakra, giving it a little extra TLC. Get the big picture when it comes to work. Do you like what you're doing? Do you want to try something new? Have you lost your inspiration? Whatever it is, get centered again and don't limit yourself. Relationships are going to be put to the test of faith. They'll either make it or break it, but that's the good thing. I feel like you're at a place where it's going to go to the next level or you're going to move into a different direction. March to the beat of your own drum. It's your individuality that makes you powerful. It's that extra sort of something that sets you apart from other people. And that's what you really need to focus on right here and right now. Okay, let's go a little bit deeper. We're going to do the soul path. I know we're running a little bit over here, but I feel like there's important messages, so bear with me. For the soul path, I want to look at the Five of Pentacles. I want to see, it is, actually this reminds me of the Wizard of Oz a little bit, because at the end, I think, doesn't the wizard fly away on the, I have to watch the book or watch the movie. I haven't seen it in a while. All right, so let's look at the Five of Pentacles here. I want to see what you can do to feel a sense of, to improve self-worth, and what's the lesson maybe with a relationship where someone let you down, right? Because if they weren't there or they haven't said yes or no, what's the message there? So what's the message for you? What's the message for relationships that are kind of like not clocking in the way they need to? All right, we've got the Lovers. It's great, actually. So this is showing me right here and right now that you should be focusing on people that want to celebrate and embrace that energy. The card is reversed, which can sometimes be unrequited love. But notice how this is a really friendly and amicable lover's card. To me, it's more about making sure that that person truly sees you face to face, that they're willing to look you in the eye. If there's someone in your life where you just don't feel that connection anymore, where you're not, again, where you're forcing the connection, I think that it's important to give them space and sort out, what do I want? What am I looking for? And who am I? And you're not limited by just one person in your life. There's not just one soulmate. We have many, many soulmates across this planet and this lifetime and many lifetimes. So focus more on the attractive energy of the Lovers, which is when I am happy, when I am passionate, when I trust in myself, then I'm going to pull in other people that are attracted to that same energy. But the unrequited piece is the most important. You are not defined by other people's love. And that's one of the reasons I don't focus all of my readings on your person. You are your person. So if you are constantly focusing on other people, then you are never focusing on the changes that need to happen. And if you're always worrying, like, what, I actually get annoyed sometimes when I see like he's coming back or she's leaving you or whatever. That doesn't matter. What's going on with you? Why do you care? What's triggering you? Where are your emotions at? So the unrequited piece is what I would focus on here. If that person is unready or unwilling to receive, it's time to reinvest and move on. It will be okay. Because you deserve that reciprocation. And if not, use the Six of Cups energy that we see here and put that passion into something that does receive it, like the flower symbolically here. But that could be deciding to go back to school, deciding to get more fit, deciding to learn something or teach something or whatever it is, following your passion, following your heart, right? Okay. But by the way, this is an attractive card. So if you're looking for love, it's out there, but don't force it, okay? Love yourself. If you can't love yourself, no one else will. So it's thank you, RuPaul, for reminding of that important piece, because sometimes we're always looking at like this. It's like a shiny golden egg or something. It's always something external, but that's not the focus. It's within. Okay. So love thyself. Attract people who also love you and celebrate you for who you are, and you're going to be okay. Let's look at. I just want to look at the Ace of Pentacles. What's the opportunity on the horizon? It's time to make the decision. And it's one that only you can make. When justice is upright, it means that it has to feel balanced for you. When she's reversed, it's usually saying, I'm ready to step away from something. But this could be just as easily, I'm ready to step towards something. I'm ready to commit to something. So there's a big decision on the horizon for you. There's a big opportunity. This can be a contract as well. I like it. I like that we have an upright justice and an upright Ace of Pentacles. So a new contract, a new job, a new opportunity on the horizon. I associate this with April. So I feel like a couple months away, there's some good changes. Make a decision and get ready for that to happen. You have to be ready, and you have to start to think that it's possible, and then you'll call it into being, okay? Balance is also key. It has to be fair. Equity was something that I picked up on with the pigeon message that came through. Everybody sort of pulling their fair share. And yes, it could be a Libra that you're calling in because we've got the Lovers and the Justice, or it could be another aspect of your chart. Okay, let's take a look at the sort of wild card and see what else we need to know. And then we'll get into the meditation and focus on some root chakra healing since that came through. The Fool. All right, time to move on. Notice how this Fool also has a little rabbit at the bottom. So with change comes growth, right? And so this Fool was reversed, so it may not be, you may not be ready just yet, but soon. And again, abundance comes with that. 2 rabbits, maybe a couple opportunities for you as well. I like what I see here. Let's meditate. Before we do that, a couple quick notes. I would love it if you could hit the thumbs up and subscribe. It helps the channel a lot. It helps with discoverability. So please do that if you haven't already. This little bell icon will give you notifications. Sometimes YouTube doesn't do a great job about letting you know when a notification comes through. So if you don't get it, then you can also sign up for my newsletter, and that's on my website. I'm going to list my contact information one more time, but I tried to post it earlier, but it didn't come through. Actually, I'm going to give you my social media link right now. So I'd love for you to also join me on social media. So if for some reason you can't see the notification, you can just go to that social media page and you can join me on Instagram, Facebook. Obviously, hopefully you've already joined me on YouTube. You can also join me on Twitter, slightly different username there. Everything else is just my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh. And I put notices each and every day when I do readings. So I'd love to see you join me. All right, let's get into the meditation. I'm going to do, let's see, with the root chakra, I'd like to do a forest meditation, and let's focus on it being morning. It's a new day. It's a new opportunity. And this is a chance for us to kind of start again and let go of anything that we don't need or we don't want. So let's get settled here. All right, I'm going to get my singing bowl set up, and just close your eyes. See yourself walking along a forest path and finding a clearing where you can see the sun coming through. You see this beautiful ray of light coming through, almost like what you would see in one of those paintings, basically. And the ground is just starting to warm up. You can see dew around you as well. You find a space near the largest tree where you can lean against the tree, and the grass beneath it is soft enough so that it feels nice to also sit down. And as you sit there for a moment, since we had the dove come through in our meditation earlier, or in my meditation earlier, I want you to imagine that a dove maybe lands just by your shoulder or right on the branch by you if you have a fear of birds. And I just want you to look at the dove and listen, connect with it truly, and ask it, like, what am I supposed to be doing? What is my path? How do I resolve the problems that I'm dealing with, particularly when it comes to feeling loved, to feeling safe, to feeling secure, since the root chakra has a lot to do with security. So just allow the dove to be there and to calm you, to give you messages if you're receiving it, and then lean back into the tree, allowing the sunshine to cascade all over your body, creating this perfect cylinder of light around you. And as you take this first breath, I want you to pull the light into your body, into your mind, your body, your spirit. Imagine that it's going into your lungs with the first breath. And as it starts to move into the bloodstream, you can almost see the light spread through your system. On the exhale, imagine that that shadow part of yourself is actually being exhaled, as being kind of reduced to just dust particles around you. It's just the light that exists now. You're starting to go through the fear, the doubt, the uncertainty, and you're resolving it. I see you. I love you. I know you. Thank you for the lessons, but I'm ready now to move forward. And as you lean into the tree, you feel this also, the sense that it's almost hugging you back. You can reach your energy all the way to the top of the branches and the leaves. You can also trace it all the way into the planet, almost feeling the security and the stability of the earth itself. And you basically are becoming the nature equivalent of the magician, as above, so below. The sun above you, the earth beneath you, the center of the earth, that beautiful, brilliant energy that we can't see, but it's there protecting us. Your heart now is receiving that as the center point. Let's really focus on pulling the energy from the earth, though. So if there's any sort of depletion in energy systems and the lower extremities, imagine that your feet, your legs, and hips, everything from the base of the skull, from the base of the spine, is able to absorb and to pull up, just like the roots of the tree, and start to drink in the energy of the earth, and then also start to reciprocate and give it what you don't need, because the earth is capable of recycling. So the fear, the anger, the frustration, the envy, the jealousy, as you breathe, offer it to the earth and say, I don't need this anymore. Take this from me and give me instead a sense of security, of inspiration, of stability. I can do this. Show me that I can do this. As you breathe, the grass, the moss, the flowers, the tree, everything around you accepts the breath as an offering, and it gives back to you that sense of safety. Just bask in this symbiotic, energetic exchange for a couple of moments as I play the singing bowl, and then we'll pull one card before we close. As you take your next breath, feel that you've started to cocoon or wrap this beautiful green energy around you, the color of love, of wealth, of abundance. And imagine also that you've been able to plant some roots in the ground, feeling like, I'm okay now. I can weather any storm that comes my way. I'm not afraid. If there's anything that I've felt triggered about, I'm inspired now to make the changes required in my life in order to bring the abundance that I seek. And I'm happy for those around me, and I'm grateful to those around me that have taught me the lessons that I needed, because it brought me to this place today. And as you listen to the sound of the dove as it flies into the distance, carrying your wishes, your intentions, it's also going to return to you whenever you need it. That's how pigeons work, or how a carrier pigeon works anyway. So if you need something, you can have that pigeon come back to you and bring you messages to continue your path towards your goal, towards your spiritual development. Take one last deep breath and relax your posture. Slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. Let's take a look at one more card and see if there's a final message for this sort of integration that we've just done for the month ahead. And we have the, let's see, 6, 7, 8, yeah, eight of cups. This is an interesting card. It's so interesting how pentacles in this particular deck mirror. It's like cups and pentacles were switched a little bit. So what I like with 8 of cups is it's about returning to something that you missed, something that you know. This 8 of cups looks a lot like the 8 of pentacles. Typically with 8 of pentacles, you would see someone getting busy and working, right? But this is a passion project. It's not about learning because you need to. It's because you're doing something that you want to. It's a second chance to do something that you haven't been able to do before. And that tells me that the integration work that we've done is there. And guess what he's working with? Clay, which is what? The earth. So it would be great for you to work with earth elements this month. I would say, unfortunately, for most of North America, unless you're on the West Coast or in the southern sort of pieces like Florida or Texas, it's a little cold. You're not going to get outside and deal with outside plants. But you can deal with things like orchids or other things. Touching the soil is good. Just being able to grow and work with plant life, that will be great. Going outside and simply being near the trees, walking through the forest, even if there's a snowstorm, whatever, you can still go out there and spend some time with the trees. That's a form of meditation. Breathing and being among nature is super important. So somehow connect with earth elements if you can. You can also, of course, always use things like crystals because they come from the earth. So work with crystals if you would like to. They're amazing. They're healing. They can help you with your journey as well. Okay. So those are the messages that was citrine, by the way. And I think the other one was labradorite. I'd have to take a look. But thank you so much for your presence and your energy today. I'm going to go through a few ways to stay in touch again here. And we'll talk a little bit here before I wrap up. So again, I put the link just a moment ago. Everything that you need to contact me will be on my website. I already put the link to my social media platforms. I'd love for you to join me there. I use stories on most of them that allow stories. So it's a great way to be in touch. Goodreads will tell you more about my book. I'll tell you more about that in a second. The only one that's different is Twitter. It's Ashbaugh. Everything else is Nicholas Ashbaugh. If you're watching this on replay, you can also show support with the applaud button. It's right by the thumb up and thumb down. It's only available on Android at this point and also desktop. So iOS devices won't show it just yet. That'll come in a couple months. If you really like what you see and you want to get back on a monthly basis, you can do the join button here on YouTube. I also have ways that you can connect with me on Patreon and PayPal. I'll put the links here because I don't often bubble these specific ones. So Patreon is a great way to also kind of receive my newsletter if you don't subscribe to it, because I put everything there and you'll get it in your inbox. And then PayPal, if you want to show support there, you can do that as well. Lastly, if you enjoy science fiction and fantasy, then you should check out my book. It's specifically made for light workers, and I think you might enjoy it. I have both a paperback and a hardcover copy. It's available at most major retailers online, including like in the US, it's available at Walmart, Barnes & Noble, Amazon. Overseas, it's available in a lot of different stores and smaller stores and local ones. So check out my website for information. And if you want to support me, that's a great way to do it. Otherwise, like and subscribe. Thank you so much for being here and being present. Let's see, it's Monday. I will be back again at the end of the week. My broadcast dates, just so that you know it, it's always on my website as well, but it's Sunday and Monday, and it's Thursday and Friday. And I do 12 videos a month plus an extra one. I really do 13. So I do a collective as well. And you can see the full schedule there. So next up would be Virgo and Libra on Thursday and Friday. And same time, always 9 a.m. Pacific. Thank you, everybody, for sticking around. I know we went over today. Thanks to my moderators as well. Have a fantastic week ahead. Stay positive, stay strong, and keep working on yourselves. So good to see everybody. Much love and light. And we'll talk soon. All right. Bye. Thank you.